Have you ever seen a grown man try to pick a fight with an 80-year-old over an honest mistake? Because I have, and let me tell you, the righteous fury of a protective grandchild is a sight to behold. So picture this, I'm at the mall with my Nana. Now, my Nana is 82, sharp as a diamond, and has the kind of energy that would exhaust a teenager. She survived the Great Depression, raised 4 kids, and can still spot a counterfeit Coach bag from 50 paces. She's a legend, but even legends get their wires crossed sometimes. We were heading out of a department store when she squeezed my arm. "Aubrey, honey, I need the little girl's room and I need it 5 minutes ago." I pointed her toward the nearby restrooms, a set of identical-looking doors tucked away in a corridor. "Right over there, Nana, I'll just wait for you here." She gives me a nod and marches off with purpose. A minute later, I see her pause right at the doorway to the men's room. From my angle, I couldn't see inside, but I saw her lean in and say something to a man who was washing his hands. I figured she was just asking if there was a line or something. Boy, was I wrong. Suddenly, I hear a man's voice dripping with condescension practically boom through the corridor. "Does it look like the ladies' room? There are urinals on the wall. Use your eyes, lady." My head snapped up. Oh no, he did not just talk to my Nana like that. I saw her recoil, her face flushing bright red. She's a proud woman, and I could tell she was mortified. "Oh my heavens," she stammered, taking a step back. "I am so dreadfully sorry, my vision isn't what it used to be. I didn't see the sign properly." This was the moment for any decent human being to say, "No problem, happens all the time." But this guy, he was clearly not a decent human being. He was a tall dude in an obnoxiously bright pink polo shirt, and he stepped out of the restroom to loom over her. "Yeah, whatever," he sneered. "Maybe if you're going senile, you should just stay home. People are trying to use the bathroom in peace without being harassed by some old bat." That was it, the line had been crossed. I saw red. I strode over there so fast my shoes squeaked. "Hey," I said, getting right between him and my Nana. "It was an honest mistake." She apologized. "You need to back the hell off." He actually scoffed, looking me up and down. "Oh great, the whole family's crazy. Get your mother under control before she gets herself arrested." "First of all," I said, my voice dangerously low, "that's my grandmother. And second, the only one who needs to be controlled here is you and your disgusting attitude." By now, his voice was getting louder and a few people were starting to stare. "She came into the men's room," he bellowed, gesturing wildly. "I should call security, this is harassment." My Nana, who had regained her composure, put a hand on my arm. She looked this guy dead in the eye and said with the iciest tone I've ever heard, "Young man, I have been treated with more respect by enemy soldiers during wartime. Your parents must be so proud." The guy's jaw just dropped. He was sputtering, trying to form a comeback when a woman came rushing over, her arms full of shopping bags. "Kevin, what is going on?" she asked, looking absolutely mortified. "Why are you yelling at these people?" Kevin pointed a shaky finger at my Nana. This old woman," she tried to. "Oh my God, Kevin, not again," the woman groaned, cutting him off. She turned to us, her face a mask of pure apology. "I am so sorry. He does this. He has zero patience. Please, I'm so sorry." She grabbed his arm and started physically dragging him away. "You are a grown man, Kevin. Stop making scenes everywhere we go." He was still fuming, trying to get the last word in, but she was surprisingly strong and just hauled him off down the mall. I turned back to my Nana. She took a deep breath, patted my arm, and said, "Well, that was certainly an adventure." Then she looked at me, a mischievous twinkle returning to her eyes. "You know, after all that excitement, I think I deserve a cinnabon." And you know what? She was absolutely right. You think the first 2 were crazy, the next one's a whole different level. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more stories like this.
Okay, buckle up guys, cause this one's a doozy and involves puppies, eye trauma, and of course a wild Karen in her natural habitat, the ER. So I'm a vet tech, Was having a super busy day at work. Picture it: chaos, barking, general animal hospital madness. In the middle of it all, I was helping with this little puppy. Cute as heck, right? Wrong. This little furball decided my face looked tasty and, well, took a chunk out of my cornea. Yeah, my cornea. The pain was instant, blinding, tearing. I dropped everything, clutching my eye, trying not to scream. My dad had to come pick me up because I definitely couldn't drive. We headed straight for the nearest human ER. Still in my blood-splattered vet tech scrubs, because who has time to change when your eyeball is actively trying to escape your skull? Walking into that ER was an experience. It was a total zoo. Lights flashing, alarms beeping, people shouting names, staff practically running down the halls. My vision was blurry and watering from the injury, which just made the whole frantic scene feel even more disorienting and overwhelming. I was in pain, trying to focus, just needing someone to look at my eye, and it felt like I'd stumbled into the middle of a live-action game of keep away with medical personnel. We finally got checked in, explained the situation, or tried too hard to focus, but because I was still in my work gear, I started getting those looks. You know, the ones, the "wait, are you staff" looks. A couple of nurses definitely gave me the side eye as they hurried past. One even stopped for a second and asked, "Can I help you?" I just mumbled, yeah, I'm checking in, I'm a patient," pointing vaguely at my eye. They seemed confused but just rushed off. Great, this is gonna be fun. Trying to find a place to sit, I was basically stumbling around, shielding my eye, bumping into things, almost got taken out by a portable desk, no joke. And that's when she appeared. Out of an exam room door like a tornado, face like thunder, came this woman. Let's call her Karen because, well, she was. She spotted me standing there looking lost and probably pathetic in my scrubs, and she zeroed in. Finally, she practically shrieked, storming towards me. "Took you long enough, how long have you been just standing there?" I flinched, clutching my eye tighter. "Whoa, hey, I don't work here," I managed, my voice probably shaky from the pain. "I'm a patient." She didn't even pause. Her eyes just flicked over my scrubs and back to my face, completely ignoring what I said. "Don't lie to me, you're in uniform. My daughter's been waiting forever. You need to get her seen now." "What are you doing, just slacking off?" Her daughter, poor kid, maybe around 12, was trailing behind her, face bright red, burying it in her hands like she desperately wanted the ground to swallow her whole. "Ma'am, seriously," I tried again, taking a step back. "I can't help you. I am a patient. I'm literally here because I injured my eye at work." I gestured weakly towards my face. Karen just scoffed, getting louder. "Injured? Stop making excuses. We're all injured. Your job is to help people. Stop being lazy and go find a doctor for my daughter." She was practically vibrating with entitlement and impatience. I honestly didn't know what to do. My eye was throbbing, I could barely see, and this woman was yelling at me like I was personally responsible for her wait time and the entire state of the healthcare system. I couldn't even properly defend myself or walk away quickly in my state. Just as she was getting more aggressive, stepping closer and pointing a finger, a security guard suddenly appeared, seemingly out of nowhere. He stepped calmly between us. "Ma'am, is there a problem?" he asked, his voice low and firm. Karen immediately turned her fire on him, pointing back at me. "Yes, this person won't help us. They're just standing here in scrubs refusing to do their job." The security guard turned his gaze to me. I just stood there looking bewildered and pained, maybe gesturing slightly towards my eye again, the big vet hospital logo on my scrubs probably visible. He seemed to get it instantly. He turned back to Karen, his stance unwavering. "Ma'am," he stated clearly, "this individual is a patient. They are not staff, they are here for medical treatment." Karen sputtered, "A patient, but they're in scrubs." "They are a patient," the guard repeated, his tone leaving no room for argument. "You need to return to the waiting area." That was my cue. Muttering a quiet thank you to the guard, I basically shuffled away, keeping my eye covered, leaving Karen still standing there, probably arguing with the guard about the injustice of it all. I finally found someone who could direct me where I needed to go. But man, the sheer audacity of some people. Here I was, legitimately injured, in excruciating pain, stumbling around a chaotic ER, and still managed to attract a wild Karen convinced I was faking incompetence instead of just, being a hurt person in the wrong uniform. Anyway, eventually got patched up, But seriously, the next time I have an emergency, I'm showing up in a giant sign that says, "Not staff, I promise," just in case.
Hi, I'm Astrid, 28, middle class, bilingualish, and a sucker for a good story. I've been lurking and posting on Reddit for a while, especially in r/IDontWorkHereLady, because honestly my life seems to attract these weird run-ins. This one. It's got everything: language barriers, a classic Karen, and a French woman with the spirit of a warrior queen. I live in a small town that, for some reason, attracts a lot of French families, thanks to a local industry that hires internationally. Lucky for me, I speak French kind of. Think, fluent 8-year-old who just ate too much sugar. Still, it's enough to get by and has actually helped me make some really great friends. One of them is Claire, not her real name, a sweet woman who had just moved here from Lyon. She didn't drive, spoke almost no English, and was trying to figure life out here. I offered to help her out with errands and grocery trips, and honestly, we clicked. She reminded me of my aunt, kind, curious, with a dry sense of humor that translated surprisingly well. So one day, Claire's ancient laptop finally gave up the ghost. She asked me if I could take her to a big box computer store in the next town. I agreed, and off we went, two women on a mission with Google Translate and broken French English as our weapons. We spent hours in that store. I was translating specs, helping her compare models, explaining warranties, feeling all kinds of tech-savvy and heroic. Eventually, we found her a decent laptop that wouldn't combust mid-Zoom call. Mission accomplished. As we were walking out, I noticed someone hovering behind us, mid-40s, expensive haircut, carrying a Chanel knockoff like it was pure gold. You know the type. I didn't give her much thought until I felt a sharp poke on my shoulder. I turned around, confused, and there she was, Karen, not just a regular Karen, but a French Karen, which felt like a rare poke come on. She immediately started snapping at me in French, demanding that I help her set up her home network. I blinked, took a second to mentally translate, and then said, je ne travaille pas ici. I don't work here. Karen wasn't having it. She huffed, waved her hand in my face, and launched into a tirade about how unprofessional I was, how I should help her, and how lazy young people are these days. In French, but you didn't need a dictionary to catch the tone. I tried again, Madame, je ne travaille pas ici. I'm just helping a friend. That's when she did the thing. You know, the slow, condescending tone people use when talking to someone they think is either lying or stupid. She even pointed at the logo on my plain green hoodie as if it was some sort of uniform. I stood there, frozen somewhere between stunned and offended, trying to find the right words. But before I could open my mouth, Claire stepped in like an absolute legend. She physically pushed me behind her like, "I got this, ma petite," and unleashed hell. I didn't catch every word, but the tone was unmistakable. She was defending me like a French Joan of Arc armed with a reusable shopping bag and righteous fury. Karen, shocked, speechless, probably considering a return flight. A real employee wandered over during this, but clearly decided he didn't get paid enough to referee bilingual shouting matches, so he just awkwardly hovered and then bailed. Eventually, Karen stormed off with a dramatic huff and some muttered insults, leaving a small cloud of overpriced perfume in her wake. Claire turned back to me, looked me up and down, and just laughed. She explained what Karen had said, that I was pretending to be helpful so I could scam old ladies, and that I was ungrateful for refusing to do my job. Claire basically told her to sit down, shut up, and never talk to people like that again. I was floored, not just by the absurdity of the situation, but by the loyalty and fierceness of this woman who, weeks ago, had been a stranger to me. We laughed all the way home. I posted the story online later that night, mostly for fun, but it blew up. People loved it, probably because we've all had a Karen moment, and it felt good to see one get put in her place by someone who didn't even speak the same language but still understood how wrong she was. So yeah, that's my story. I hope it gave you a laugh, or at least made you appreciate the quiet strength of good friends, especially the ones who surprise you when it counts. And remember, sometimes kindness sounds like a 2-minute rant in French while you hide behind your grocery buddy.
Liking the vibe so far? Hit that subscribe button and stick around, the next story's even better.
All right, gather round folks, Ethan here, and man, do I have a classic from the archives for you. This one's about how a pretty quiet kid, a friend of mine, totally saved the day and became a bit of a legend at the movie theater my dad co-owned. So picture this, it's peak holiday season, probably a week before Christmas. The multiplex is an absolute zoo. My dad's one of 3 guys running the place and he's stressed but also kinda loves the chaos. All the high schoolers working there are buzzing, partly 'cause of the holiday rush, partly 'cause, free movies and all the popcorn they can stomach. One of these kids was Leo, about 15, maybe 16, good kid, solid worker, always eager to help out. He was mostly on bagging duty at the concessions, filling popcorn, grabbing candy, that sort of thing. The one golden rule for the younger helpers like Leo: no touching the cash register. Too much responsibility, too much that could go wrong. My actual buddy Sam, who was a bit older, was manning one of the tills that day. As the afternoon wore on, the lobby started looking like a mosh pit. The lines for tickets snaked around the stanchions, and the concession stand, forget about it. It was a tidal wave of people wanting popcorn and sodas before their movies. Sam was doing his best, a real champ, but he was getting swamped. And then, of course, it happened. Right when the line at Sam's register was at its absolute longest, the damn computer freezes, blank screen, nada. Sam's face just fell. You could see the panic set in. Up at the front of that particular line was this one guy. You know the type, already looked like he'd been personally inconvenienced by the universe before he even walked in. He'd been sighing dramatically and tapping his foot for a good 5 minutes before the crash. Now, he went from simmering to a full boil. "Well, what's going on? I haven't got all day," he barked, leaning over the counter right into Sam's face. Sam, bless him, tried to stay cool. "So sorry, sir, looks like the system just went down. I'm trying to reboot it, just gonna take a moment." This guy was not having it. "A moment? This is ridiculous. I want my popcorn. Get someone who knows what they're doing." His voice was getting louder, drawing stares. People behind him started grumbling, not at Sam, but at this dude's attitude. Now Leo had been quietly bagging popcorn next to Sam, watching the whole thing unfold. He saw Sam starting to look genuinely distressed. Leo wasn't a loud guy, pretty reserved usually, but he hated bullies. He stepped forward, positioning himself calmly between the angry customer and Sam. "Hey man," Leo said, his voice surprisingly steady. "He's working on it. You're not the only one waiting, and yelling isn't going to make the computer go faster." The guy puffed up like an angry bullfrog. "And who are you supposed to be, huh? Some little helper? Go get me a manager, kid. I'm not talking to the B team." Leo just held his ground. He didn't raise his voice, didn't even flinch. "Look," he said, his tone even, "you can either wait your turn quietly like everyone else while we get this sorted, or you can leave. Your choice." The man's jaw dropped. He went red, then sort of purple. "How dare you? I'll have your job for this. I know people. I know the owner of this place." And that's when Leo delivered the killer line. A tiny, almost imperceptible smile played on his lips. "Oh, really?" he said, still calm as a cucumber. "That's funny, 'cause I know the owner too. In fact, one of them's my dad." Leo's dad was another one of the 3 bosses, a good friend of my old man. "And I'm pretty sure he wouldn't appreciate you screaming at his staff or his son." You could have heard a pin drop. The guy just deflated. All the bluster went out of him like air from a punctured tire. He looked from Leo to Sam, then at the long line of people now openly glaring at him. He mumbled something incoherent, turned on his heel, and practically fled the theater, empty-handed. The whole line just kind of collectively exhaled. Someone even started a small, sarcastic round of applause. Sam looked at Leo, half in shock, half in awe. "Dude," was all he could manage. Later, my dad got the story. Initially, he was a bit ticked off. His first thought was about a young employee escalating things with a customer. "Leo, you shouldn't have engaged like that." What if he'd gotten physical? But then Sam and a couple of other staff filled in the details, how aggressive the guy was, how Leo had actually de-escalated by being so firm and calm. My dad thought about it, then this slow grin spread across his face. he realized Leo hadn't just stood up for Sam, he'd protected the other customers from this guy's meltdown and probably saved a much bigger scene. My dad pulled Leo aside, clapped him on the shoulder, and said, "Son, you handled that like a pro next time, though. Maybe lead with the 'my dad's the owner' bit a little sooner, eh?" They both had a good laugh. That story became legendary. My dad still tells it with a chuckle, usually as an example of how to handle a difficult customer with unexpected authority. And Leo, well, he was never just the quiet kid bagging popcorn again. He earned some serious respect that day. Even now, almost a decade later, whenever I see Sam, he'll bring it up. "Remember that time Leo went full boss mode on that jerk?" Yeah, Sam, we remember. It just goes to show, sometimes the quiet ones have the biggest roar when it really counts.
So there I was, trying to enjoy a rare sunny Saturday at the city zoo. I'm a bit of a clothes horse, right? And that day, I'd opted for a crisp blue polo shirt and some sensible khaki pants, comfortable but neat. Maybe a bit too neat in retrospect, because I guess I was radiating some serious, official personnel vibes I wasn't aware of. I was just hoping my vaguely nature-toned outfit would make me one with the exhibits, maybe get a nod from a discerning capybara. I'm peering into the meerkat enclosure, doing my best David Attenborough internal monologue when I feel this presence. I turn and there's this woman, let's call her Red Fury. She was decked out head to toe in eye-searingly bright red activewear, like a rogue Power Ranger on her day off. It was a choice. Before I can even offer a polite "excuse me," she launches in. "Right, where are the pandas, and are they active this time of day? I was told the feeding time was an hour ago, but I don't see any staff updating the schedule." I blinked. I'm not sure about the pandas, sorry. I think their enclosure is further down." Red Fury frowned, her lips pursing. "You think, aren't you supposed to know? What about the lions? Are they visible? My son Aiden adores lions." Now I'm not an expert, but I can spin a yarn. A little mischievous spark lit up inside me. "Ah, the lions," I said, warming to the theme. "Magnificent beasts. Did you know their roars are so powerful they communicate primarily through infrasound, undetectable to the human ear, to coordinate complex jungle-wide hunting strategies? Fascinating stuff. I might have embellished, just a tad." She was actually nodding along, lapping it up. "Infrasound, you say? Remarkable." Then, like a switch flipped, her face clouded over. "Look, this is all very interesting, but I paid good money for a guided tour and I expect to be guided. Not just stand here getting random facts." "Whoa, hold on," I said, hands up. "I'm really sorry, but I don't actually work here. I'm just visiting like you. The actual guided tour usually meet by the main entrance, or you can check the info boards for scheduled keeper talks." Her face went from confused to furious in 0.5 seconds. "Don't you lie to me, I know a uniform when I see one. I have friends on the zoo board, you know. My husband is a very important man and he knows the director personally. I'll have your job for this." Classic. I was bracing for a full-blown meltdown when a truly terrible yet undeniably brilliant idea popped into my head. "You know what?" I said, pasting on my most charming customer service smile. "You're absolutely right. My apologies. My regular tour group must have gotten ahead. How about I give you and Aiden a special, personalized tour?" Her expression softened, a smug little smile playing on her lips. "Well, that's more like it. Aiden, come on, this gentleman is going to show us the animals." So off we went, me leading Red Fury and little Aiden, who actually seemed like a decent kid. As we ambled past the monkey house, where I regaled them with tales of banana-based currency systems, we somehow picked up an entourage, a young mom with her two slightly younger kids. They'd clearly overheard my increasingly elaborate facts and looked intrigued. Red Fury was not amused by the extra company. "Excuse me," she huffed at the mom, "this is a private tour." The mom looked flustered, but I just winked. The more the merrier, animal education for all. I was kind of enjoying myself now in a weird, masochistic way. We got to the tiger enclosure. It was a magnificent animal pacing back and forth. The new kids, a boy and a girl, were mesmerized, pressing their faces right up against the reinforced glass. Their mom was trying to pull them back a bit, looking nervous. "Now kids," I said, pitching my voice to be both engaging and serious. Tigers are incredible, but they're also incredibly powerful. See that glass? That's super strong for a reason. We respect their space, right? No tapping on the glass, no sudden loud noises. We're visitors in their home. The kids nodded, eyes wide. Their mom shot me a grateful look. Red Fury, however, scoffed. Honestly, you're scaring them. They just want to see the tiger. Can't you make it do something? Roar, perhaps. Ma'am, I said, trying to keep my cool. It's not really an on-demand situation. Just then, the little boy from the second family, the one who'd been glued to the glass, suddenly stumbled and his hand slapped hard against it. The tiger, which had been ignoring us, whirled around with a guttural snarl, its eyes fixing on the spot. It was just a reflex, a show of annoyance, but it was enough. The kids shrieked, the mom gasped, and even Aiden looked pale. My heart leaped into my throat. Okay, everyone back, I said, my voice sharper than I intended. I gently steered the kids a few feet away. See, that's why we're careful. Even behind glass, they're wild animals. We need to respect that they can get startled or annoyed just like us, but their annoyed is a lot scarier than ours. The mom was white as a sheet. Oh my God, thank you, I told them, but... Red Fury, however, rounded on me. What is wrong with you? First, you give a terrible tour, then you practically get these children eaten. I'm reporting you to your supervisor immediately. This is outrageous. Right on cue, a real zookeeper, distinguished by an actual name badge and a zoo-branded jacket, walked up, having heard the commotion. Is there a problem here? She asked calmly. Red Fury puffed herself up. Yes, this employee of yours has been unprofessional, uninformative, and just now he nearly caused a terrible accident. I demand to speak to his manager. She gestured dramatically at me. The zookeeper looked from Red Fury to me, then at my very much not a uniform polo shirt. A slow smile spread across her face. Ma'am, she said with admirable restraint, this gentleman doesn't work here. He's a visitor just like you. The silence that followed was glorious. Red Fury's jaw practically unhinged. Her face went through about 5 different shades of red, finally settling on a deep, mortified crimson that almost matched her outfit. Aiden was trying to stifle a giggle. The other mom just stared, then a small smile touched her lips. But his facts, Red Fury stammered. The infrasound, the banana currency. I just shrugged. I have an active imagination. The real zookeeper chuckled. Well, sir, some of your facts were certainly creative, but your advice about respecting the animals and the barrier safety was spot on. Thank you for that, she then turned to Red Fury. Now, ma'am, if you'd like information on our actual guided tour. Red Fury didn't even let her finish. With a strangled noise, she grabbed Aiden's hand and practically sprinted away, muttering something about incompetence and never coming back. The other mom came over. Thank you, she said sincerely. Seriously, you handled that really well and you actually taught them something important. Her kids echoed their thanks, looking at me like I was some kind of off-duty superhero. I just grinned. No problem. Just another day at the zoo, eh? I gave a nod to the actual zookeeper, who was still trying not to laugh, and decided it was probably a good time to go find those capybaras. Maybe they'd appreciate my blue polo after all.